So, we've beaten that first boss battle, or I guess it's a boss battle, and we're going to go start moving off into the game's environment. We have two people in the party, and I am going to be playing through, as I had said in the previous episode, I kind of screwed up the capture situation, and I didn't record the commentary while I was playing the game, even though I was speaking it. So, going through and playing this again, or not playing it again, but watching as we go through, I am playing it at the video at double speed, so we can roll through this episode a little bit quicker. There will be no storyline in this episode, though, so it's really just for the sake of brevity. So we have two different party members now, and much like in the very class-based style of RPGs, she plays differently than Gustav. So Luna is a kind of like a mage character, but in some ways a lot of these characters seem to be functioning the way mages do. You build up like sort of like a resource to expend on doing other attacks, but hers is a little bit more complicated because she has different resource pools that she would build up and then expend on her attacks. However, she does seem to have better stats than Gustav does at the time, and we'll eventually find out it's because her weapons, she has better weapons or something like that, but she does start off, when she shows up, she has higher attack power, speed, and critical rate, even though both have no defense. His character is perhaps a little bit easier to work with because I have fewer resource pools to consider, but overall she does function better. Plus, she has her running animation. She sort of floats over the air, over the ground, instead of actually running. So I'm going to actually spend most of this episode playing as her instead of him, even though it doesn't really make any difference. And you can do this in order to start like a battle, throwing an attack on the field, and then going, and it starts the battle with you having the first turn, a sort of preemptive strike that you see in games. How differently she plays does feel like a bit more of a kind of extreme version of the class systems that we saw in a lot of games where, I don't know, it feels like you need to do quite a bit differently to just function with her. You're not just picking different options from a menu like you would see in a lot of games. I guess it's taking a little bit more of an influence from Western developed games in terms of class-based design, because more like a Dungeons and Dragons kind of thing, rather than the Japanese RPG influences that much of the rest of this game goes with. So we have a new sword. This one has a higher attack power, and this does actually give Gustav a higher attack than Lune. So, like I was saying before, it was probably more to do with her having better equipment at the start than him. They're both level 2. So the way that this game works with level ups is you level up while fighting, and then when you reach a save point, you'll go and have a few different options for choosing different stats that you want to upgrade. You also have these pictos, which seem to be taking the place of armor. Now, you do have different appearances for the characters, but wearing different clothing and stuff, but that seems to be cosmetic. The pictos seem to be what takes the place of armor in this game. And I guess that gives you a little bit of freedom, because let's say you like the look of a certain armor set, but you can't stick with it because it's at low stats. So like Dragon Age was bad with this, because like some of the cool looking armor may not be ones that you want to actually use in the game. I guess Baldur's Gate has its problems. also, they give you, like, they separate the appearances of the characters from what they're wearing. But the armor doesn't seem to... I haven't found many of them yet, but the Pictos don't change your stats so much as they give you, like, certain perks. So we got one where you gain, like, an ability point or whatever it's called if you dodge an attack. It doesn't increase your stats at all, but it does increase the utility of your character. Oh, these characters are talking to each other a little bit, but I'm not going to slow down for the sake of this. You see, there are houses and stuff around here, so this is clearly a place where there was civilization, but that has been destroyed. An advantage. You gotta explore around. So the game does feel like it's going to be a fairly linear game. And you have areas like this where you do have some freedom to, say, go left or right. There's really only one place you're going, but having these larger environments does give you a little bit more of a feeling like the area is more open. It gives you corners to go and search through looking for items, as opposed to like the Final Fantasy XIII approach of sticking you on a tunnel and expecting you to just run down it. Now, in some ways, Final Fantasy X put you in tunnels that you ran down, but it wasn't as restrictive as 13 was. And this is a little bit more open than that even. So, this game seems to be striking a nice balance between the restrictive, linear story and gameplay, and giving you the feeling that it's not jamming you in the corridor run. I did have a little bit of a difficult time getting used to the battle mechanics. I guess maybe it has something to do with the fact that I played the opening of the game and waited 10 days before I got to continue playing. But I don't know. I guess it's meant to be a little bit difficult, so you can't just cheese your way through the entire game, or be able to just go and, like with low stats, just dodge every attack. I guess maybe if you're good enough at it, you can do something like that. So I'm trying to dodge or parry or whatever. The characters are getting hit. I also found why I'm fighting the same enemy over again is because I was sort of expecting that I would be able to do I was sort of expecting that I'd be able to just sort of slowly crawl my way through the environment, kill an enemy, run back, heal, come back, kill the enemy again, kind of thing. And it turns out whenever you go and hit rest at a save point, the enemies will respawn. So I guess you could do this if you really wanted to grind experience points, which I suppose you could say that's what I'm doing, even though it's unintentional. But you do respawn the enemy, so you gotta fight them over again. And if you're doing something like burning healing items while you're in these fights, you could actually be screwing yourself over. So you gotta be a little bit careful with what you're doing. I wonder if there's a lot of cosmetics in this game, because I haven't found any for Luna yet. Gustav's got a couple, but I picked those up before we left the city. Well, that will help. They say a lot of this stuff while they're picking up items, and I've already heard the same things enough times to it be a little bit annoying. Okay, yeah, I shut the camera off. See, look at this, I go and I rest again, and then I run back out here, and then we fight again, and then I'll just skip over it because I shut the camera off because I reached the point where I started to think, yeah, nobody's going to want to watch the same battle over and over again. It's a shame the commentary didn't survive it. Ooh, corpses. So we'll have 3 different enemies, and we have flying enemies. And something about the flying enemies you gotta consider is that just punching them isn't gonna take them out. You gotta shoot the fuckers. Now, strangely enough, shooting the weak point didn't seem to do any damage. They dodge every attack that I make. So you gotta sit there and you gotta shoot them. And then you try throwing an attack at it, but they always seem to dodge. So you gotta shoot them. Oh, and check this out. There's I guess, adding a little bit of an idea to the non-linearity, the very limited non-linearity of this game. You have this enemy here who's clearly intended to be fought when you're at a higher level or with better equipment or something. I give it a shot, and it just fucks him up. After playing the game for a little while longer, I've gotten better at dodging, but maybe I could do it now. But yeah, let's end the episode here.